What up, what up, what up, New York Giant Nation and football fans all over the world? It is your boy, Mac the Giants fan, and it is time for the Week 12 edition of the Real Deal NFC East Round-Up. And you know I got my guy, the super dope co-host Adam Costas right here next to me. Let's go.
Cash flow.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining us at this little bit different time, a little earlier time slot this week for the Real Deal NFC East Roundup. Got my guy Adam Costas here. How you feeling today, Adam?
I am good.
That is real
I
good,
am
man.
really, really good. It's the eve before Thanksgiving. It can't get any better than this.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Get the NFL week off to an early start tomorrow, and the New York Giants is a part of it. So that's gonna be all good too, man. Can't wait to get to that game tomorrow. We'll be talking about that most definitely in a little bit. But for now, we're gonna start the show. What's going on, Philly B? What's going on, Miz? Appreciate y'all brothers for stopping in. But we're gonna get right to it, man. We're
Yes,
gonna start.
we are.
We're gonna we're gonna go start off right here, going down with the command, going down to Houston with the Washington
La-
Commanders.
Ladies and gentlemen, there will be some gobble gobble going on right now as Mac has the floor. He will be dining on some humble pie with a side of crow.
Yeah. Well, yeah, as we know, for everybody that tuned in last week, I thought the Houston Texans were gonna, be able to pull this upset off in their home on their home field, and I couldn't have been more wrong. Not only did they not pull the upset off, they probably played maybe their worst game of the season. Probably actually literally played probably their worst game of the
So
season.
they are not the best 1-16 we've ever seen.
So they looked exactly like a 1-6 or one and whatever the hell their record is, 1-7, 8, whatever the hell their record is now. I don't know. They look just like that. Every bit of that. Don't this score 23-10. It wasn't even that close. It was those
It
10
really
points
wasn't.
were like those 10 points were mercy points or something. I think at the end. I don't even that the Washington went down there and absolutely just trashed this team. And let's tell you how, man. Washington stepping up all over on all phases of the game right now, man. Offensively, man, they look like they are starting to form some sort of an identity. Looking like they want to become that running team. Try to keep the opposing offenses off the field, man. Running the ball very well for the second straight week here against a tough Houston defense. Running the ball for 153 yards, man, with their two running backs, Antonio Gibson and Brian Robinson, carrying the load,
What's
both
up,
having
Alex?
pretty decent days. What's going on, Alex, man? How you doing, bro? Blue City Empire, what's up, man? So this Washington team starting to form some sort of an identity on offense, looking like they trying to kind of get you going, get you all on your heels with the run game, with their run game, and then they got some serious weapons on the outside with Terry McLaurin and Jahan Dotson and Curtis Samuel. So I don't know, man. This Washington team starting to look like they're trying to come to form at the right time of the season, man. How do you feel about them, Adam?
Washington's is going to be a scary team. I know we were. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I get you.
Oh, I know that we were talking about our team, right? And some of us in the fan base were like, "Well, we don't want to see them in the playoffs and everything like that." No, I think this team is. I don't want to see right now. They're scratching and clawing their way, trying to get into a playoff spot. And to me, I think they're going to take on the role of spoiler. They're going to try to ruin people's seasons. You know, whether that's the Eagles, the Giants, whomever. And if it lands them in the playoffs, great. If not, I think they're just going to try to do their best. I mean, it's interesting to see. We thought they were dead to rights. We thought they were dead to rights. And then I said, hey, maybe they'll rally around Tyler Heineke. And I must have struck a chord in the football universe, because all of a sudden, here are the Commanders rallying around Tyler Heineke, playing their best football of the season right now and getting healthy as we speak, unlike some other teams in the NFC East. And they did what they had to do against a team. This is what I'm talking about. Make a team far less talented than you, not on your level at this moment in the season. Maybe they were at the beginning when you're going through the schedule. Right now, they are not your level. Embarrass them, and that's what the Commanders did. And that's why when we get to the Giants, we will definitely address what I'm talking about here.
Well. I mean, this Washington team, yeah. Also, they're also playing better on defense, getting starting to come into their own a little bit more defensively as well. Had a really solid performance. Picked up 5 sacks on the day. Also, just holding this Texans offense to basically nothing on offense, man. I mean, Damian Pierce has been running all over the league this season, man. Is held him to 8 yards on the ground.
Chase Young's coming back.
Yeah, he's coming back. We'll see what he got when he gets out there, but he's definitely somebody Washington's been waiting for, man.
Let's just put it this way: I'm not sleeping on Washington to get 2 guaranteed victories down the stretch for the Giants. Just let's put it to you that way. How I feel about this Commander team. I think they're better than we think. I think they got more talent than we think, and I think they're going to be hungry. They have Atlanta next, right? So they beat Houston. They have Atlanta next. This would be probably their soft of the schedule. Now, Atlanta is only 1 game behind them, 5-6, right? So maybe Atlanta says, hey, this is our chance to get back into the wild card race as well. So it's a big game for the Commanders. Now, the Commanders are a better team than the Falcons. They should handle business and handle the Falcons. If they do, then they play the New York Giants. And again, that game could be a telling game on where those 2 teams go.
I mean, it could be, but that's why they play the games. And before we get to all that, they got to still take care of business on the field at the end of the day. So we'll see.
But they're taking care of business. I mean, they're the best. They're the hottest team right now in football.
Right now, they're doing well. So I can't take it away from them. Like I said, they have turned around. They have turned it around.
You are just wow.
I'm just saying they've turned it around and they are playing much better football. So I mean, but you got it.
But the inflection in your voice sounds like I'm not really that impressed because they're beating these teams.
It's a wacky season. It's been so much weird shit. I mean, we've had weird, a thing. I mean, what you call it?
The juju for this season is off. All pundits are wrong. Everybody forecasted everything
every
wrong.
week. There's always some kind of surprise game where somebody wins that you don't expect to, or some kind of crazy upset. It's been like that all season. I mean, look, we saw a Buffalo team lose to the Jets that was led by Zach Wilson, who's now benched. Like, I mean, let's put all this into perspective. Yeah, he's benched, brother. They not starting Zach Wilson on Sunday.
Well, goodbye, Zach.
This a lot of things, crazy things happen. I mean, look at the Chiefs team losing to the Colts at one point in this season. It's been a lot of crazy ongoings, man. So Cowboys lost to what looks like a pretty bad Green Bay Packers team a couple of weeks ago. So the way this season is going.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that in a moment too.
I got to see it, man.
Got several things we got to address there.
So we got to, this has just been some wacky stuff going on this season, man. So hopefully the Giants can get some of that mojo going for them tomorrow, but we'll get to that later. But anyway, yeah, like I said, this Washington team holding Damian Pierce, man, to 10 yards on the ground. Or 8 yards on the ground on 10 carries. So not even averaging a yard a carry, obviously.
Right. I mean, but these games are like confidence builders. What they do is they're like, well, we're better than this team. Let's go. We're better than this team. Let's go. Like, I know people don't want to talk about moral victories, but they had a couple this season so far. They went toe-to-toe with the Minnesota Vikings. They had a comeback from behind win against against the Colts, who are giving everybody problems right now in the NFC East, right? So there are some things that are going on I'm not just going to look down at them anymore and say, they're in the race right behind us. And with some tough games coming up, who knows what the season will hold.
I mean, yeah, so it's exciting getting down the stretch of the season like this, man, and it's even
Double-digit
more fun.
wins.
It's even more fun in the NFC East right now, where every team is over 500 and every team is looking pretty solid for for what record wise at least record
Oh
wise, pretty
man,
solid.
Mac is on fire today, boy. Ladies and gentlemen, he has had no mad else. So
I'm just
we are
saying,
building up.
it's the truth. All four teams got a winning record, so we going for right now. The NFC East down the stretches right now going to look like a fun division to keep track the rest of the way, man. Because it's a lot of excitement coming up, as we know. Fireworks about to go off in the NFC East. So
Fireworks about to go off
that,
in this show right now.
But speaking of that, we can move on. I mean, unless you got some more thoughts on the Washington Commanders right now at the current moment. I mean, okay, you know what, Taylor Heineke. How about Taylor Heineke, man? The addition of that, like, how big has that been for the Washington Commanders? Because I feel like their season has absolutely changed since he's been inserted into the lineup.
I think you hit the nail on the head right there. I think for whatever reason, it wasn't working out with Carson. I don't know why they didn't rally around him, but hey, what I guess happened is the guys know that he can play. And they're like, hey, listen, he knows the offense. It's not like they're running something new. He's been there a couple of years already. And it made it seem pretty good. So I think they're going to rally behind him, and he's going to put the ball where he needs to put it. He's not going to do anything cute. Maybe Carson got a little too cute. There's Terry. I'm throwing it to Terry. What he is doing is involving playmakers. They're not always going to the guys, but like Curtis Samuel is now getting burned. Jahan Dotson is getting burned. Terry's actually looking like a legit number one. He's spreading the ball around more so than what Carson Wentz was doing. And if I'm Ron Rivera, I say, Carson, your finger is going to hurt a lot more right now because you're not playing anymore. Sorry.
There's no way in the world I could put Carson Wentz back into the lineup. There's no way.
B-Cass, how you doing, man?
Not the way they got these guys going right now, man. But yeah, we're gonna move on. Now we're gonna speed it up along and get to the Indianapolis Colts.
Indianapolis Colts.
Philadelphia Eagles on Sunday, and this game was a lot closer than anybody would have suspected. I tell you that. And
yeah,
the Eagles, once again, took a gut shot from the Colts, but was able to hold on and get the job done. What's going on, Jeff? B-Cass, thanks for stopping in, man.
Good, bro. No complaints. Good. Well, happy Thanksgiving to you, B-Cass and NYG. Good to see you guys. B-Cass, a friend of mine, huge Eagle fan. I'm sure he's ready in his seat as we speak about the Eagles.
Well, take it away, brother. You take the lead.
Well, listen. First off, people need to maybe respect my name a little bit when I say some stuff because I said that the Eagles would not lose to the Colts. Someone laughed in my face. Ha ha ha! Blueprint. They have the blueprint on how to beat the Eagles. Da, 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 da. And I said, this is a team you got to take care of business. And for a while there, the Eagles were having a little trouble. They were down, 7 in the first quarter. They kicked the field goal in the second. They kicked another field goal in the third. They kicked the field goal in the second, and they poured it on in the fourth quarter. That's what you want sometimes. Got to hang around. That's what they did. And so for me, this team can win ugly. They can win pretty. They can win whatever they want. The Eagles can win by any means. And this just goes to show a feisty Colts team who is giving everybody a run for their money, man. I mean, they lost to a point to the Commanders. They lost to a point by the Eagles, who, by the way, Jalen Hurts is playing out of his mind. Okay, he's playing out of his mind. He had 16 carries for 86 yards and a touchdown, which was the game-winning touchdown. And he also threw a touchdown, 18 of 25 for 190 yards. So he is doing everything he can and more for this team, and he's elevating them when they needed him most. Okay, they could have easily lost to the Colts. And they could have said like our fan base, oh, it doesn't matter, we're 8-2. No, they went out and they handled business, and that's what you got to do when a team is far less on your level. Find a way to win the game.
Well, with that being said, yeah, they did. They came back. They won the game. They held off the Colts, and they got the job done. And that's what a good football team absolutely does. But once again, getting down this home stretch of this season, man, this is 3 weeks in a row now where the Eagles have been in closer games than they should have been, actually losing one of them, as we know. And this Eagles is a very talented team. I can't really say much bad about them. Obviously, you know how I feel. I feel like they are the best team in football, straight up. I don't give a damn about what anybody else has to say. I think they've proven to be the best team in the NFL, period. Don't want to hear any more about the Buffalo Bills. The Chiefs, you can maybe try to throw in the mix there, but I think the Eagles are the best team in football. And mainly it's because of this offense. This offense is absolutely explosive, and it can do whatever it wants, basically whenever it wants. And it seems that the only real key to it is keeping it off the field. I mean, the Colts didn't have gaudy running numbers, but they didn't go away from it either, you know. So they still kept giving the Eagles a steady dose of it. And that's part of what kept this game close. Is once again, you just got to figure out a way to keep this Eagle offense off the field. Because once they're on the field, it's all systems go. And the only thing that can stop this Eagles offense, I feel like, is themselves. That's usually when when they make mistakes is when they have their problems offensively, and that doesn't happen very often. So I just think going down the stretch, teams are going to continue to just keep attacking the Eagles in that way. It's not going to always work. I'm not going to say it's going to work every week for teams, but that's how they need to buckle up and get used to that, because teams are going to start attacking them that way the rest of the way going forward.
Again, we will touch on some points because you're making some of my points for me in another argument later on down the road. But like what Jeff says here, he said they play a ugly game and still found a way to win. We always talk about that with the Giants. We always say, hey, they found a way to win. It wasn't pretty. They got it done. They got the job done. Now, because the Eagles don't blow a team out, we're like, well, you know, they should have blown this team out. And the Eagles have found a formula. What it shows me is they could win any type of way, any type of game, at any type of moment. So, to me, that is like a Kansas City Chiefs, because the thing about the Kansas City Chiefs that scares everyone when you play them is they can score from anywhere. They're like a fast break team on the football field. The Eagles are very similar in what they do things. They have a trio of receivers who are playing pretty well. They involve their tight ends. I know Dallas Goedert's not there anymore, but they involve their tight ends. They dish it out to their backs, and their quarterback is playing amazing as well. So if he doesn't play the way that he's playing right now and get this offense going, I don't think they win the games they do. You have to give a credit to him and the way he's played and the way he's carried this team and kept them in games.
Oh, absolutely. No doubt about it. Like I said, I mean, I think the difference with people when they say all of a sudden, the Eagles aren't blowing people out, so now it's like, but I think it's because that's the kind of standard they set for themselves already. That's what they were doing. And all of a sudden now it's like people are attacking them a different way and they're not able to do that. That's all. It doesn't matter. Like I always say, the win is the win, and that's all that matters, is getting the W. At the end of the day, there's no style points in the standings. You just get the W. It's about, That's all they're going to mark down, is the check next to the W or the L. And that's all that really matters ultimately. I think this is when the Eagles were just, the way they were just off to the races, and then all of a sudden these last few weeks it just seems a little bit like that's it. I don't think it's like you said, they find ways to still get the job done.
Listen, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, Jack,
I hear
no
what you're
problem,
saying,
brother.
I hear what you're saying, Mac. But here's my only problem. Sometimes I feel like people change the narrative when they need to, right? It's like, well, when we talk about the Giants and then not being able to score points and then winning nitty gritty and all this stuff, that's how they're supposed to win. The Eagles come in and they're like, well, they didn't blow out the Colts, so we found a way to expose them. It's like, well, they won the game regardless. They made adjustments, they figured it out, and they won the game. So to me, at the end of the day, it's not like they exposed you. Maybe, yes, you found a weakness here, but that team tried to exploit the weakness, and at the end of the day, still ended up short. Why? Because the better team with the better talent came through.
But that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I was saying. They can still find a way to win. I'm just saying it does show a vulnerable side that they didn't show earlier in the season. That wasn't happening to them earlier in the season, and now teams have just that's the way they're going to get attacked, and they may come up on the short end of it. Like I feel like they got a tough matchup coming up in a couple weeks when they play the Tennessee Titans. That's one of those teams that's going to be a test to the Eagles the way teams if they get attacked in the same way with Derrick Henry, running that football down there in Tennessee.
That will be a good test for them down the stretch.
I'm just saying that's the things I'm talking about. The Eagles are good. I can acknowledge how good the Eagles team is. I'm just saying that's something we weren't seeing earlier in the year, and it's something the last few weeks we've been seeing, and teams like the Houston Texans and the Indianapolis Colts have been sticking around with them, and Washington Commanders actually did get the W on them. That's all I'm saying.
Well, again, you're going to bring me to my point here.
The Eagles as the best team in the NFL. I still acknowledge them as playing the best football in the league, and I feel like their offense is absolutely incredible out of this world, and they can score basically anytime they're on the field, and that's why they're getting attacked like this, like I said, because you want to that's the best way to defend them is keeping that damn offense off the field as much as possible.
And the best way to defend us will be coming up very shortly, as I will use the same logic that Mac used on some of the things that I see in the chinks in our armor. Stay tuned.
Well, if that's the case, since we always tend to get a smidge long-winded, we might as well go there right now. Let's go to MetLife.
Ugh.
Where it was not pretty on Sunday for the New York Football Giants. The Detroit Lions came to town and just flat outplayed us.
The cheeks.
In every way possible, every phase of the game, offense, defense, special teams, outcoached, just flat out. It was just a horrible day for the New York Giants. And it may even have been their ugliest loss of the season. Not even just because of it's definitely their biggest loss as far as by a point differential, I believe. But it was just bad all around. Just a bad look. The New York Giants didn't come to play football that day. It was terrible. The Detroit Lions, a team coming in with I believe they were 3-6.
Yes.
Coming into that game, yes.
3-6.
3-6. And we were sitting at 7-2, and it just.
What was that record again?
Never were ready.
7-2, huh? 7-2. That's all. I'm just saying. I'm pissed off at this game, and I some people are not as pissed off. They're like, "Oh, we're 7-3." No, I'm pissed off because I look at the Eagles, and they took care of business against a team that was 4-6. We come in and we go out flat against a team that is 3-6, and basically could have ended their season right then and there. And they outplayed us from jump in every facet of the game. Every facet of the game. Offensively, we couldn't do shit. We couldn't even run the football. We couldn't do nothing. Okay? Now, I'll get to the quarterback in a minute. Saquon Barkley had his worst game of the year, probably of his career so far.
Probably of his career, yeah.
I don't know, and this is the 32nd ranked defense we were going up against. It's not like we were going against the 86 Bears. We were going against the worst of the worst trash the league had to represent us. So what is it showing me? It's showing me the Giants need Saquon Barkley in order to win these games. And if teams have the personnel to stop them, they're going to sell out on the run. And that's what exposed me, because the passing game didn't do anything to help the running game. When you lose something, you need something else to help out, right? The running game wasn't working with the Eagles. Well, guess what? Quarterback took over, and he ran and threw the football, okay? This quarterback, what did he do? He threw us out of the football game early in the game, okay? First, the Giants the Lions go down and score 3-0. You're like, all right, defense may hold this. And by the way, somebody told me I was crazy. I said that the Lions would score 31 points. How many points did they score? That's right, 31 points. So respect the name. as I'm saying. Anywho, Lions go down and score. Giants come back, and I knew it was going to be a shitty day when Graham Gano, Mr. Automatic, hits the damn upright. I'm like, oh, great. This is not going to be good. Then the Lions punt the football back to the freaking Giants. Okay, so the Giants have the ball now. It's good to go. Right? Actually, no. Was it a 3-and-out? No, I think they went down the field and scored. Excuse me. They went back down the field and scored. So now they're up 10-6. The Giants get the ball. Okay? And Daniel Jones is staring at fucking Darius Slayton and doesn't see the man drop underneath. It's not like Aiden Hutchinson is, 5'2". He's 6'5". Threw it right at the guy. Big momentum switch. You know why? Because at that point, we're down 10-6. Now the Lions go down and score again. And now they're up 17-6. And at that point, I'm like, man, we cannot get down any lower than this, because if we get down lower than this, we are screwed, because it's going to be a tough game. Now, we're going downfield. We're trying to come back. I think we're down 24-6 at this point in the third quarter, and he throws his second pick. Now, it was on 4th and 8. I get it. But these 2 picks were egregious picks. They were terrible. They were the things that we worried that Daniel was doing, and he threw them. And they were inopportune. I don't care they didn't score. It was an opportunity that gave the Lions more time to take off the clock. Because once the Lions got up 2 scores, they kind of hit cruise control. And let me tell you something else. And we'll get into Brian Dable in a minute, because I think Mac has some thoughts on the punt returner. But this offense didn't do any favors, and the quarterback didn't do any favors for his team. And that's all I have to say about that. Mac, what is your thoughts about Adoree?
Well, about Adoree Jackson, hold on. Before I go into Adoree, I got to give my thoughts on the whole situation. Like I said, because this was a total team loss, and the coaches are not excused either. And like I said, Daniel Jones, those interceptions, I'm not giving him a pass on those interceptions. They were absolutely terrible.
It's the timing of when they came.
They were terrible. But riddle me this. This defense of the Detroit Lions, like I've already mentioned before, we're selling out. Absolutely selling out on Saquon Barkley. Daniel Jones could have ran that ball on the Detroit Lions all day long.
Thank you, Authentic.
You got to send some of those, you got to call some of those a little bit more and loosen up that defense on Saquon Barkley and make them start understanding that we better pay attention to Daniel Jones, because if we keep selling out on Barkley, Jones is going to keep killing us with his legs. So why was none of that happening during this game? Why was none of that being adjusted to during this game? Because Daniel Jones did run the ball effectively in this game. He's about the only thing positive offensively at all, if you can look at it a little bit positive, was he ran the ball effectively when he did run. So why weren't the coaches adjusting to this? My eyes could see they were selling out on Barkley. It was all in. They weren't paying attention to nothing else. So we had opportunities that we didn't take advantage of, and that's from more of a coaching standpoint. Like I said, Daniel Jones, I'm not giving him a pass on the mistakes he made with the interception and such, by no means.
But if he had a clean game, I would put this in a good column. But because those interceptions have been at crucial moments in the game when the Giants needed plays to be made, that's why they're so egregious. It's not like the one interception he had in the game where it was like at halftime and he threw it up and somebody picked it off because he was doing a Hail Mary. This was at critical moments in the game, and that's why I'm so hard on him.
I mean, I understand that too, and I get it, but I just, like I said, this is when a total team loss from everything all the way down, man. It wasn't a good look for anybody. Like I said, the fact of the matter is, the one person I can point out on offense that once again had an amazing game is our left tackle, Andrew Thomas. So that's about like the main thing I take away from this game.
That seems to be the consistent thing on this team.
He's consistently doing this week in and week out, playing all pro level football week in and week out. And if we can't depend on anybody, we can at least depend on him to get the job done.
And he's sick. So the only thing taking out Andrew Thomas is Andrew Thomas right now. I mean, I'm sure he'll play, but geez.
But like you brought up Adoree Jackson. Now here's the thing, man. Here's my problem with this whole situation is I was, like I said, irritated last week when I saw him back there. It's just because I don't want to diminish the importance of your special teams units. But you know what, man? You can't just be throwing like your number one cornerback back there and have him returning punts. Because this is the shit that usually always happens, man.
Deion Sanders did it.
I mean, everybody's not dynamic like Deion Sanders, though, bro.
I'm not saying.
This is a different era anyway. I mean, I get it. That was more the norm back in those days anyway. You had the superstar players.
I mean, Tyreek Hill was back there.
Back in those days. I mean, yeah, until he became what the Tyreek Hill he is now. He ain't back there no more, is he?
Well, when they need a spark, in the playoffs, guess who they put back there?
And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with it situationally. But we were basically planning just throwing Dory Jackson back there as the main punt returner.
Well, you could have had him fair catch. That's all you could have done if you really wanted to.
I mean, look, you can get anybody. You can get Richie James if just fair catch.
Right, but obviously not because he's had some drop issues. So, I mean, look,
I'm just not a fan. I'm not a fan of it. I wasn't a fan of it way back in the day when Jason Sehorn was back there and got and tore his ACL. I'm just not a fan of.
Everybody knows,
especially our team, the way our team is constructed right now. Dory Jackson is just too valuable to that defense.
And this
to have
is why
him back there returning punts, like on a regular basis, man. And it's just.
Well, they had Darnay Holmes. I don't know why they put Darnay Holmes back there.
I'm frustrated with the whole situation of it because the matter is he's possibly going to be out for basically the rest of the damn season for the most part. I mean,
probably. Knowing the Giants' luck, probably. I wouldn't rush him back unless you're absolutely sure you're going to the playoffs. Because for all we know, see, he's the biggest injury that has come out this weekend, and that's why I'm so skeptical going forward, because when he left the game, the Lions did whatever they want. I mean, look, the Lions have made a blueprint on how to beat the Giants. It's called matchups, right? Jihad Ward can't cover a wet paper bag. You know what I'm saying? Excuse me. He was on a receiver named Kennedy. I don't know who the heck that guy is, and probably none of you do either. And this guy gets onto Jihad Ward and runs right by him, and Jared Goff throws right to him. So what I'm worried about is teams. And then when Rodarius Williams came in, it was just an absolute nightmare. But that's what I'm worried about. Is teams like the Cowboys, the teams like the Commanders, teams like the Eagles, teams like the Vikings all have good receiving cores and decent offensive lines where if this team, because this team doesn't get a pass rush, this team does not get a pass rush.
The point of what I'm saying about how valuable Adoree Jackson is to this defense. When you look at the schedule, look at the receiving cores, we're going to have to come out. That's exactly what I'm getting at. Is just the value of. Sometimes you got to measure things and say, you know what, we do need a different spark back there, but Adoree, you're too valuable. I can't put you back there. We can't risk you on special teams right now because we absolutely need you on defense, and we need you full go on defense. And when I watched that shit happen, and just as soon as he got tackled, it was just evident immediately. It just happened to be going on commercial right at that moment. But as soon as it happened, you knew he was down, and I knew he was hurt, and I knew we probably weren't going to be seeing Dory Jackson the rest of the game. And not only that, we're not going to be seeing him for quite some time. And I think that turns the tide for the season, like I tell you, because when you have a guy back there that's big, because look at this, a position of strength has become a position of weakness. We lost McKinney to a freak accident on an ATV, right? We lose Adoree Jackson to a punt return, right? So we lose those two guys. And then we lose Fabian Monroe on top of that. And I think Nicholas McLeod has a neck injury. So the entire guys that we brought in are all injured. We're rolling out there right now with Rodarius Williams and Cordell Flott. Now, as much as people like Cordell Flott, I don't think he's ready for prime time. And so we'll see what happens, you know what I mean, in terms of what they're going to do, because this is what scares me about playing other teams. I know scare is the wrong word, but concerns me about teams going forward, is that people are not taking Adoree Jackson's injury as serious as it is, right? And what happened on the offensive line. Like, we have three guys who probably aren't starting in the league, starting on the offensive line against the best defensive football on Thursday. And then on the flip side, we lost the best corner on our defense, who can't get a pass rush at all. We lost our best two corners right now currently on this football team. We lost both of them. I know because neither one of them, Wichita's not going to play tomorrow either, I'm sure. So we're starting
Who,
probably, like you
Fabian
said,
Moreau? Probably.
he's not playing. He hasn't been practicing at all, so he's not going to play.
Like, I mean, Evan Neal, like, if these guys can play, don't hold them out. Put them in. And I know people are going to call me crazy.
Evan Neal's looking like he might be on the field tomorrow.
I mean, I don't know. I have mixed, because here's what's going to happen, right? I can see it now. Evan Neal goes on the field, DeMarcus Lawrence railroads him, and he gets, banged up again, right? And then it was, you brought him back in too soon. Blah, 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 blah. I mean, every game from here on out is a playoff game for the New York Giants. That is it. That is how you have to take this season. Because right now there are going to be no more gimmies. There are going to be no more, excuses if this happens. There's going to be no excuses about injuries down the road. If you lose this game against Dallas on Thursday, and you go to, and Washington comes into your building and has any inkling that they could beat you, and they beat you, the season could be going out of control. And I know that Brian Dable has gotten these guys to play, but sometimes talent is going to outweigh you, out execute you. And if the Cowboys execute a game where they're just play kind of simple football, they can win the football game because of the injuries that we have. We have no receiving core. And by the way, here's my little rant right now. Here's my little soapbox. I'm tired of people telling me the guys have no receiving core. Darius Slayton and Wandale went over 100, or damn near close to 100 yards each. So find a way to get those guys in. Well, now Wandale Robinson's out. Kenny Golladay, you're up. You're up, man. We ain't got nobody else. Richie James is out. David Sills is a librarian. He don't do much. It's Kenny Golladay or bust. Devery Hamilton.
Yeah, I was trying to read that too. Well, we'll see, man. Like I said, that's not exactly looking very promising, but that's not looking very promising right there. It doesn't give you a lot to feel good about.
But these injuries are going to be like, they're not short-term injuries.
But that's why they play the game. Well, yeah. So we got to deal with the injuries. We got to figure a way to overcome. Hopefully we can.
Like, I can see them having a get-up game against Washington, but I don't think Washington's just going to say, hey, Giants, here we are, we're going to lie down for you, because they're going to look at it like, hey, this could be our chance at the wild card. There are 3 teams right now in the wild card hunt, right? Well, more than 3, but let's put the 49ers right now. Well, actually, no, Seattle, the Giants, and the Commanders are all fighting for maybe one spot, 1 or 2 spots, if that. Because I think it's going to go Philadelphia right now. It's going to go, I will say San Francisco, Tampa Bay, and right now the Eagles, right? So those are the 4 teams, or no, Minnesota, excuse me, I already said the Eagles. Those are the 4 teams that are already a lock to go, right? Then the Cowboys are wild card number 1, right? That leaves, Seattle, who beat us right now, wild card number 2. And then it leaves the Giants and Redskins fighting for the last spot.
Well, let's not put Seattle over us until they are over us, brother. Okay, and right now they're not over us.
They over us. They beat us in the
right now. Our record is outright better than theirs. Until they have a better record than us or have the same record as us, then they will be over us. Okay. I'm sorry. We gotta give us something, bro. You gotta give us something. You can't just take it all away. Just like it's. I
didn't take it all away. All I was saying is that they're fighting. They're fighting for. They're going to be fighting for a playoff spot, especially if they lose this game on Thursday, and that's fact. Every game right now is a playoff game. You cannot have any slip ups. Like you slipped up against Detroit, everyone's like, "Oh, we're still 7-3." You should be going into this game 8-2 right now. No excuse.
You absolutely should be. You absolutely should be. But like I said,
and the way they played makes me angry.
Sunday.
The way they played makes me angry.
And it was compounded by a bunch of injuries to make it even that much worse. The injuries I'm not gonna chalk the injuries up to the reason we lost. We came out from the door playing playing shitty, for less of a better word right now.
And I don't know where the adjustments are going to be made because we've lost personnel on both sides of the football. So I don't know right now. The Commanders game is probably the game you're going to have to see those adjustments being made, because on this short week, you don't have much to do. You have to kind of tread water, hope you don't get the doors blown off, okay? and hang in the game and hope the Cowboys are just so overconfident that they play so sloppy that they keep you in the game. Otherwise, you really are looking at that Washington game if they beat Atlanta as a game that could ultimately because right after you play Washington, you play Philadelphia, and then you play Washington again. This 4-game stretch is the season. I don't care what anybody says. Is it? If you do not at bare minimum 2-2, you're going to be scratching and clawing the rest of the way.
What are you trying to communicate, Miz?
He's saying he wants to come in.
Wasn't really trying to do. I mean, he was gonna bring Jeff on a little bit later as a one guest, man. He wasn't really trying to do all that.
Yeah. Well, when we move on to the Cowboys game in a little bit, he wants to come in. But anyways, I'm off my soapbox.
I mean, he's talking about Kenny Golladay. Trying to feed Golladay. He didn't just forget how to play. We don't use him.
We don't use him correctly. I agree with Miz here. I think Miz is on something with this, right? When he was in Detroit, they didn't use him on slant routes. They used him on 7 routes, go routes, 9 routes, 8 post routes, the deep digs. That's what they use him on. Jump balls, mostly 50-50 balls. And this is another thing that I'm talking about. You want to get 2 things I want to talk about offensively that shouldn't need to happen going forward, and I don't care if interceptions happen, because they're going to happen anyway. Throw the ball to Golladay downfield, see if he can pluck one out of the air for you, or get a PI or something, right? And the other thing is use Barkley as a wide receiver. If you're losing receivers, put your best player, who he is, out on the damn field in other areas to take advantage of things.
I got a feeling we're going to see some of that tomorrow, just because we don't have much of a choice at this point now. Numbers are limited, very, very, very thin at receiver. And only really got a couple of competent ones, that I could honestly say would be on other NFL rosters if they weren't on the New York Giants. So,
but that's what I'm saying, Mac. This is why I'm saying it's going to be a tough road ahead, because it didn't take much for the Detroit Lions to make the Giants one-dimensional and play right into their hands. And we have better defenses coming up that are going to not have to stack the box if we don't have the offensive line to run block correctly. And if Daniel can't figure out how to overcome some of this, right, we're going to be in for a dogfight every game.
Well, that's going to be the case. Oh, first of all, real quick, thank you, Steadfast. Really appreciate it from Australia, man. It's already the next day over there, brother. I really appreciate it. Really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. Thanks a lot, man. But that's what I mean. Like, it's always going to
we'll get into the Cowboys in a minute.
Because, like I said, even if we didn't have the injuries we have, even if, let's say, perfect world, we had our whole regular 56, 53, however many people on the team. Say we had all these guys healthy. Perfect world. Our roster still is not that impressive.
Right.
On paper. So, and that's a perfect world if we had everybody healthy. So we're going to be in dogfights regardless.
You took a shitty roster and made it shittier for the next 4 weeks, which is probably the most important 4 weeks of the Giants season.
I want to see is the fight, because that's what's been keeping them over the edge anyway. Regardless, is the fight. So they just got to make sure they still keep that and keep it going. That's the point. Yeah, there was none this week, so they got to get that back and get that attitude back and go out there with that. Just play loose, man. Play free. Overall, most likely the team across the field from you is a more talented team. You just got to go out there and still just do what you were doing earlier, man, and just keep fighting, man, and maybe good things can still happen. Right now, we're still sitting not in a horrible spot. We just gotta figure out a way to win some of these games, and it's a tough stretch. 4 straight divisional games, man. It will pretty much make or break this season right now. These next 4 games, so we'll see.
We shall see. Let's get to this last game here, so we can get our guest in.
Let's go. Let's go indeed to the Minnesota, who's hosting the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday, and nobody, I don't think, expected this one. Cole's Cowboys.
I called it. No.
It is hilarious that
he
you
will
pop right here, right now,
and
with the googly eyes.
listen. He had it on. He was waiting, lurking in the background. But no, I called it. I did call it last week. I rewatched the show, folks, so I knew because Max said he was going to be eating a lot of crow, and this is another one where he's eating some crow. I was the only one in 2 different streams to say, "Hey, listen, the Cowboys. I got a gut feeling they're going to win this game. What are you talking about? Blah, blah, blah." Someone even said the Cowboys went from Green Bay to Minnesota. They're not going to be able to, handle that travel. And I'm like, okay, like, what are we, 5? Like, come on, not going to be able to handle the travel? They go in there and what did they do? What did they do? They blew the doors off of that stadium.
They did. They absolutely did. Did not expect that kind of effort from the Minnesota Vikings. Couldn't get anything going.
I didn't expect that kind of effort from the Dallas Cowboys. Like, I thought they were good, but they took one of the best teams in football and made them their bitch. Like, literally made them their bitch. Okay? They couldn't do shit. They were getting sacked left and right. Micah Parsons is in the backfield still. I mean, my goodness. They are so good. And here's the thing about the Cowboys, which I thought was funny, because a lot of people were like, the Cowboys, did they have a trap game? Like, no, they played the freaking Green Bay Packers. They're coming off a bye week. They looked a little lethargic, out of sorts. Okay, fine. They came back into Minnesota, and after Minnesota, who now we're hearing excuses. Oh, well, they played the Buffalo Bills, emotional win. That's why they lost. Give me a break. Give me a damn break, okay? I'm tired of making excuses for getting your asses kicked. That's what they got. This is the ass whooping of the year in football.
No, there's no excuse for that. You lose 40-3. There's no excuse for that. That's not because you played Buffalo the week before. I don't want. That's ridiculous. If people saying that is just absolutely crazy. But Dak Prescott, we had a Cooper Rush appearance in this game again too. By the way, saw Cooper Rush again for the first time in a few weeks. But
that's because the doors were blown off. They were like, let's take him out of the game.
But Dak Prescott was nearly flawless in this one, man. 22 of 25. 2 touchdowns on the day, man. Lighting up for 276 yards. So looking like Dak Prescott's getting back comfortable again, back in his offense. And once again, Tony Pollard. What did I say about him? Looking like a superstar, man. 15 carries for 80 yards on the day, man.
Well, that's not even the big play. The big play.
And he had 6 catches and he also added 6 catches for 109 yards. And 2 touchdowns.
Dynamic
as well.
Dynamic. He has single-handedly changed the complexion of the Cowboys offense because he's in there. Now Zeke is still a good back, still functional, still can do some things for you, can break away one every once in a while. He's got that, think about it. Natron Means, even in the older days, broke some long runs as a power back. Ezekiel will have a role in this league. Tony Pollard has changed their offense. He has made it where now they can score from anywhere. And they didn't have that really at the beginning of the year. Even though Pollard was there, he wasn't the featured guy. Now that he's the featured guy, home run central. He changed defense because now the defense can't just single up Dak, right? Especially he's got going. So this is what the Giants need to do. They need to look at what the Cowboys did and try to emulate that with Saquon Barkley, because if they do that, they might be able to open up the running lanes for their team.
They're going to have to open up something because this Dallas Cowboys team can definitely score points as well. And it's an NFC East matchup, so I still expect it to be a tough grinded out game. But the Giants is going to have their backs against the wall when they see the Cowboys tomorrow. But for right now, this Minnesota team, though, you think they get back on track? You think this is one of those losses that might send them spiraling a little bit down the stretch here?
Well, Minnesota has a history of kind of stumbling. We'll see. I mean, I don't think it derails them too much, but it could be one of those things that was a wake-up call. Let's hope it was a wake-up call, because if they play like that, they're not going to do anything. They're not going to represent, right? And they made it to 8-2. They played a good Buffalo team. They beat that team. They came in and they got absolutely outmatched, outcoached, outplayed by the Dallas Cowboys in every facet of the game. And let's hope. I don't know who Minnesota plays next. I don't have their schedule right up in front of me, Mac. If you do, let me know. But
I can see who they play.
We'll see, man. I mean, this is big. I want to see how their offense bounces back because remember we were
Play the
talking about
Patriots.
on Sunday night Thanksgiving. I think they're going to win that game, but it's going to be tough. I mean, the Patriots can't score, so I mean, right now they score 3 points. They're in the game, so we'll see what happens. Don't let that guy return a kick on you.
Yeah, thanks, Authentic. We just saw that primetime game tomorrow night. After you eat your turkey, you get to enjoy the Vikings against the Patriots.
Oh my
Patriots
god!
coming
After I'm choking
big
on my
dramatic.
turkey.
Patriots coming off a big dramatic win on Sunday. Vikings coming off a horrible loss. Absolutely horrible, horrible
Let's
loss.
hope. Let's
Going
hope.
on
Let's hope I'm alive
unpopular
after this.
opinion,
Oh, NYG.
but yeah, this Dallas Cowboys team, man, they starting to they starting to roll at the right time, right as getting down this home stretch. This offense starting to look pretty explosive, and their defense, like you said, is it the best? I'm not sure. Is it statistically the best in the league?
NYG.
I feel like they have. They said I saw something today that read something about them having the most
Good
sacks
question.
after this many weeks in NFL history. I mean, this team, Michael Parsons is just he's just a scary dude, man.
Well, the Micah Parsons on a short week. Authentic has a great question. And I think we should kind of intermingle it and preview the game right now. Since he asked the question, I don't know if you can see it. Let's bring
Yeah,
on
I saw
Jeff,
it.
and he can help us answer that question since it's going into the game we're about to talk about. So, and the question is how much do you think the passing game for the Giants will be needed? And I'm going to tell you it's going to be 100% needed because the blueprint. I don't know if you can get Jeffy on, but the blueprint was made by the Lions, and I feel like the Cowboys are gonna sell out to stop the run. However, they have the personnel to cover our receivers, so it's not like they have to put 9 or 10 in the box. They can go with their front 7 if they want to. Remember, the Lions were collapsing the pocket with 4 guys. 4 guys they were collapsing the pocket, and Daniel was under siege. Right, so I am thoroughly believing that the Giants are going to have to max protect, and they're going to have to pass in certain situations if the Cowboys do what the Lions did and make it really hard for Barkley to run.
Well, look, that's exactly what they're going to do. I mean, that's what they're going to do because why do they care? They don't give a damn about the receivers we rolling out there, brother. They're not worried about those guys. They're not worried about Daniel Jones beating them. They're not worried about our receivers beating them. So they're gonna go all in on on Saquon Barkley.
Well, they're
They're
going to put
just
a
gonna have.
spy on Daniel because they're not stupid. I mean, they did that
Well,
in the
he
first
had
game
he had an effective game running the football on him in the first game, so they're definitely going to keep an eye
until
on him
two and a half
for
quarters
sure.
until they put their spy on him.
So So what they're going to do is, so they're going to definitely, that's what they're going to worry about. They're going to try to take the run, force the Giants to become a passing team, and obviously that's not a recipe for success for the New York Giants right now. Obviously, what we rolling out on the field, I mean, it just is what it
But
is.
I think it's going to be harder this week without the offensive line that they're playing with. And Jeff will get you in here on your thoughts in a minute. That's my one issue because we're coming off of arguably the worst loss in the Dayball era so far, right? One it felt like the Joe Judge loss last week. Like it was like, everything was ugly. And this week we have a team, and we're coming in limping on a short week. And some people are like, yeah, great, we have a short week. No, I don't want a short week because usually these games you get dismantled, and on Thursday nights it's been tough for the away team. And now you're telling me we're going to be banged up going in there against this hungry, by the way, hungry Dallas team. They're going to try to humble us on Thanksgiving. I'm sorry to say that. They're going to try to do it. Jeff,
I mean, they are. But I was going the Packers. I was go back to Authentic's comment real quick. The problem, the only thing is, I can see them going into that game and having and being more focused on just stopping Aaron Rodgers as opposed to keying in on their run game. I feel like coming into this game against the Giants, their main agenda defensively is stop 26. Don't let 26 get going. Key in on 26. I mean, I just feel like that's pretty. It's a difference in mindset going into the game. I'm not trying to knock what the Packers were able to accomplish against the Cowboys on the ground, but I just feel like the
But they still
Cowboys
gave up 28 points. I mean, it's not like
yeah,
they dominated the Cowboys. I mean, they had the win in overtime. So what the question should be asked is, how are we going to stop their offense with banged up secondary?
I mean, that's just going to happen. We're going to have to see what happens with that. That's like rolling the dice right now at this point. I feel like because we don't know what they expect from these two young guys that's going to be out there playing corner for us, man. But
Jeff,
Gentlemen, I want to say thank you for allowing me on the best show on YouTube, the Real Deal NFC East Roundup. It's an honor to be here with both you guys, and I want to wish both of you and the entire chat a very, very happy Thanksgiving tomorrow, and hope everybody's enjoying their day.
thank you.
Oh boy, in terms of tomorrow, oh boy, this could be a rough one. Just saying, that injury report alone has to make your eyes curl and just make you scared and just want to lock the door and not come out after what you saw in that injury report. And thankfully, Andrew Thomas is going to be out there, at least at left tackle. But the one thing that actually worries me the most going into this game against the Cowboys, we can't stop the run. We cannot stop the run. And it was evident as day against the Lions, where we gave up 162 yards to Jamal Williams and DeAndre Swift and that Jackson kid. Imagine what Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott are thinking right now going against our run defense that just for some reason, since week 3 when Leonard Williams, or was it week 2 or week 3 when Leonard Williams went down with that knee injury, our run defense has not been the same. And we've been giving up these big chunk plays right up the middle. And you have to wonder if Williams and Lawrence are both banged up or just because they're exhausted from the amount of snaps they've had to take in the interior of that defensive line because we really have no depth. So that has to be a big play too, because if we can't stop the run, it's just going to make it a lot easier for Dallas to be able to try to beat us with some of those quick passes over the middle or even towards the outside. And remember, now we're playing against a Dallas team that didn't have Michael Gallup or Dalton Schultz in that first game, and both those guys are going to be present, especially against our banged-up secondary, where we might not even have Dane Belton or Jason Pinnock in this game either. Both of them are questionable, so we might not
Austin
have two of our
Calitro's gone
safeties.
too, so our middle linebackers are depleted.
Exactly. Yes, we can. It's pretty bad. I'm actually seeing who's actually going to play tomorrow. That's how bad it is. I'm scared of that offensive line on who's going to be playing right tackle. Nick Gates. As much as we all love Nick Gates, I don't know if I can trust the dude. He's got to play center. Tyree Phillips or Matt Peart is our right tackle, and Jack Anderson is our left guard. That's our offensive line going into the game. And Glowinski, he's not been good at right guard. He's been average at best. So, and especially going against Parsons and Lawrence and that pass rush that had 7 sacks against that healthy Vikings offensive line. They were harassing Cousins that whole game yesterday. My confidence is not that high.
Yesterday.
Yeah, and we already don't have Evan Neal, and I don't even know if Tyree Phillips is going to play too. But
oh my God, Jeff.
The thing we have to do is, I think that what you guys are saying is absolutely right. Well, Adam and Mac, they're going to key on stopping Barkley. They're going to do the same game plan that the Lions, that the Ravens, that the Seattle Seahawks did. They're going to bottle it up and stop Barkley. And what they're going to do is, now with Wan'Dale Robinson going down for the season, they're probably going to try to double up and take Slayton out of the game too. Because Slayton's been the only wide receiver that's done anything on the outside. And they're going to tell Daniel Jones, be like, you know what? We're not letting 26 and 86 beat us. You make Isaiah Hodgins, broken down bum-ass Kenny Galladay, your tight ends that right now they can't do anything on the football field. We're making those guys beat you right now. You have to beat us on that football field, and we're not letting your 2 best offensive players go out there and make any plays. But one thing they should do is try to run some more bootleg runs with Daniel Jones, try to bounce him to the outside a little bit, because there were a couple of times in that game against the Lions where there was wide open field and they decided to run the football right into the teeth of the defense with Barkley instead of bouncing it on the outside with Jones so he could pick up some first downs. And one guy I hope they use more is Matt Breida. Breida is starting to become a factor in this offense a little bit, whether it's receiving or even using his speed, being able to bounce off to the outside or even running it up the ball up the middle, because Barkley's clearly not 100%, and Breida gives you that speed factor in the receiving and the running game. Use him a little bit more in the offense, especially you're down so much in the wide receivers right now. So use Breida's offense more and try to get some quick passes out to negate that Dallas Cowboys pass rush. And Galladay has got to be a factor. Miz has said it. You guys have said it. The chat said it. Galladay has to do something now. We have no choice. Robinson going down and James being banged up. We have no choice. We have to get something out of Kenny Galladay, whatever it is, because Slayton is not going to be able to do it. And the same thing with Barkley. We have to get Galladay somehow involved in this game, and he has to get targeted often. I actually agree with what Miz said. We have to get Galladay targeted immediately, get him into the game, because we have nobody else right now, in my opinion, that could get it done on the outside consistently, which is a scary thought right now to say, than Galladay. So,
and this is why I'm a little upset by the last week's loss, because we took the 32nd ranked defense in the entire defense, both in running and pass, and we couldn't do buckus offensively. Now, I know people don't want to admit this, but the Cowboys, yes, they gave up running yards, but they're not going to be stupid. They see Daniel Jones do that one bootleg, they're going to put a spy on him immediately. That's what they did. They were getting burned with that in the first game, and they made an adjustment halfway through the third quarter, changed the damn complexion of the entire football game. So if they come out and they try to do that RPO, I guarantee you Dan Quinn's going to be like, all right, man, we're going to switch it up a little bit, and try to sell out sure that their ends do. And the thing that people need to realize is the defense matches up well, that they don't even need to do single high safety. They not even need 9 or 10 in the box. If the offensive line can't block anybody, it may be advantage Cowboys that way. So we'll have to see.
Well, look. All right, here you go. I've been watching New York Giants football, been watching the NFC East for a long, long time. I'm going back to the mid-'80s from my New York Giants and NFC East football watching days. I left this comment up on the screen for a reason, because it's an absolute fact. It's the NFC East, and logic goes out the door in these games, man. And I've seen two. It just happens. You can't explain it. It doesn't make sense. But it works out like that from time to time. I'm not looking at Washington. I'm looking at the Dallas Cowboys tomorrow. I'm not looking at like okay, we're just gonna forget this game, just take the L and worry about Washington next week. I can't.
Well, are we losing? Are you picking them to win?
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that that's not the way I'm looking at it. That's not the mentality I can go into this week with, because they play the game for a reason. They play the game for a reason. It's not anything can happen. We can go out there and, like I said, we were talking on the phone yesterday. Like I said, we can turn around on our first offensive play, hand the ball to Saquon Barkley, and 75 yards later he could be in the damn end zone. It can happen. Be our only points of the game. It can happen. It could be, but it also could get the Cowboys on their heels immediately and just be the road to a good game for us. Things like that happen in the NFL. It can happen. It can happen. I'm not going to worry about saying, okay, we had a bad performance against Detroit. We got half the damn team got injured, and now we're just going to get blown out on Thursday by the Cowboys and worry about and we should just be worrying about Washington.
Well, how come the narrative becomes different? How come the narrative becomes different, right? So everybody prior to this game told me we're a team to be reckoned with. The Giants don't want to be seen in the playoffs. We're going to the Super Bowl. We're going to destroy the Lions all week long leading up to that game. Now they lose to the Lions, and it's like, well, we're still 7-3 and blah, blah, blah. There were some gaping issues in the game on Sunday that's what makes me concerned. That's all. It's not necessarily saying I want to lie down and have the Cowboys lose to us, but the Cowboys came in, and all I heard all week from some people in this chat as well, that the Cowboys are getting their asses kicked when they go to Minnesota. There's no chance they're going to win that football game. And then they were going to be 0-2 coming in and play this game on Thursday night. Now they go out and beat the brakes off probably the second best team in the conference and do it in a way where they have better personnel than we do. They have Dalvin Cook, who's equally as good, if not just as good as Barkley. They have two receivers who are leading the league or in the lead in their categories all together, and they have a decent offensive line, and their quarterback plays better. And they went in there and actually shut that team down and shut them up. We have far less than they do, and you expect me to believe that we're going to just blow it up?
I understand we got far less than they do. That's not. This is right. This is what goes back to my point as well. This comment right here. Things can happen. Will they? Not likely. Probably not at all. But there's a chance. And until the Cowboys slam that door on us, we gonna see what happens, because that's why they play the game. That's exactly why they play the game each and every week. It ain't never over until it's over. And weird, crazy things happen. Bad teams beat good teams. It happens. That's the nature of the NFL.
I think we're going to.
You're looking at that standpoint of, I get it. Minnesota has this and has that.
I'm looking at the standpoint the Giants came in
and they did what they did to them. I get it. I understand that logically. Yes. And if we're going to go into this right now, I can do it. No, I did not pick the Giants to win this football game. If I'm actually making my pick, no, I did not pick us to win the football game due to all the circumstances we're dealing with. But it can happen.
Yes.
I'm also not counting out that the fact that it can happen. We can get the W because things happen. Momentum changes for various reasons in football games. All kinds of things just shift. It can happen.
We went from being a team in this fan base to 7-2, basically punching our ticket to the playoffs. People don't want to play us, all this stuff, to having nobody. And we saw the performance, right? Everybody told me the Cowboys were going to lose after that hard game to Minnesota. That's what they said. They said they're going to lose. They have no chance, right? All they said about us was we're going to win. We can't lose to this Lions team. And now here we are on the brink of this game, and not one of us is picking them to win this football game. So what does that mean? That means 2 back-to-back losses. If they came in here at 8-2, this would be a different narrative right now. If both teams came in off a win and we're going 8-2, we're like, yeah, even if we had these injuries. But because we lost this game, this could come back and hurt us down the road, because we can't afford to lose, right? Because now the Cowboys beat us. We're now tied with the Cowboys in sole possession of third place until told otherwise. And then we have the Eagles, who we have to hopefully split with, and the Commanders, who aren't looking so slouchy anymore. So the road here and the blueprint that the Lions put out there is something that is giving me a little pause going forward about the state of this team right now. That's all.
And I think the special teams
put a blueprint out on. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jeff. Finish. Go ahead. Say what you guys say.
I think the special teams has got to play a lot better too, because right now we're getting absolutely zero from our special teams in terms of our run game. Even whoever you throw back there, nobody's giving us good field position and getting us in position where we could start our offense up. And even last week against the Lions, we gave up some special teams plays where they had possessions all the way near their own 40 or 45-yard line. And our punting game has been very erratic too. Jamie Gillen has not been good as well. So our special teams has got to play a factor too, because they have that kid Cavante Turpin, who could also play a factor in this game if he's able to make some big returns. And our special teams coverage isn't on par from what it was before. Even our great kicker, Graham Gano, even had some warts where he missed a couple of extra points. So special teams is going to play a factor in this game as well. And the Giants have got to be on point with that. And they have to be better and pretty much on point with their coaching. They have to out-coach the Cowboys, and that's a big reason how we could stay involved in this game, make it close, and somehow pull out the victory, because I think our coaching staff is better than the Cowboys' coaching staff. Obviously, talent-wise, we're not better, but I think our coaching staff overall can find a way to will this team over the top, because they've already done it this year. Maybe they can pull out another one against the Dallas Cowboys, because, yeah, the NFC East, anything is possible.
But like I'm saying, because look, the Detroit Lions, to me, they didn't give anybody a blueprint on the New York Giants. They just did what everybody tries to do, and they did it way better than everybody else has this season. That's it. It's not a blueprint. It's not a secret when you play the New York Giants what your main priority is from a defensive standpoint. It's no secret. They didn't give anybody a blueprint. They just executed it better than anybody else all season. And it sucks because they had the worst defense in the league coming in, and they're the ones that pretty much shut us completely down. Basically shut us completely down. So
then fine.
It's just a matter of execution. This week it was terrible. It was bad against a bad football team. We should have won the game. It's no excuse to lose a game against a team like that, right now, currently, especially with everything that's on the line this year. But look, it happens. You move on, and you still got to keep playing more games. And at the end of the day, as long as we got a game to play, we got a chance to win it. Straight up. As long as there's a game to be played, we got a chance to win it, no matter what. And until that team beats us, then we still got a chance. They got to still get the job done. Like I said, things happen, and we right now we got to rely on some of that. That's the kind of energy we need to rely on. We got to get back to playing with that heart we was playing with all season, because we've been undermanned all season regardless, and we were still getting the job done. So we got to just go back to that mentality and get it done. We can't go out there like we did against the Lions on Sunday, or we will beat nobody else. Obviously. We can't go. We just got to go up there and next man up mentality, embrace that mindset.
We can't even score points, man. These teams all can score points.
We got to figure it out. And we got to figure out to stop them from scoring points. Like I said, before this game,
we didn't stop the Lions from scoring points.
For this game on Sunday, no one else put up 30 points on the Giants all season long.
And the 4-6 Lions did.
They're the first team to do it, though. And it took how many weeks for that to happen in this season? It took 11. It took 11 weeks for that to happen. So we get back to doing whatever we was doing to keep the points down on the opposing teams. We got to just get back to doing what the hell we was doing, and we can't do what we did against the Lions on Sunday again. We can't show up and play like that again. That's what it's called. It's about. Everybody got to do their job. The coaches got to get this team ready. The players got to be ready to play when their numbers is called. Everybody's in the NFL. They all getting big paychecks. Even the last dude on the bench, at the end of the bench. They're all carrying big salaries. So everybody got to step up and do their job, man. And that's what it all comes down to. I get it. It's not looking, on paper, it doesn't look good. Mm-hmm. It doesn't look good on paper. But that's why they play the game on the field. And anything can happen, and all bets is off. And until this season is over, it ain't over.
Well, with that being said, are you picking them to win on Thursday?
I said I didn't pick them to win the game. All right,
so then all this rah-rah speech that you're giving me means nothing, because you still think they're going to lose the game at the end of the day.
No, well, that's just me making my pick, though, as being like as real about the situation. But at the same time, as from a fan standpoint, I'm not ready to be like, just get ready for Washington and rest everybody. No, you got a game tomorrow night.
Yeah.
And you get ready for that game. And you go out there and maybe you can still get the job done.
Nobody said that.
And shock the world.
Open the ears. I said it's going to be a difficult road when you have Adoree Jackson, who is arguably your best corner. Your linebackers don't do shit. It's going to compromise you more. We're facing teams that now can score. Not saying that we didn't before, but the Giants have a playoff game every week from here on out. From here on out. It starts on Thursday. Okay? And every game gets harder and harder as you get closer and closer to that end. And all I'm saying is, with Adoree Jackson being out, we don't have the same horses out there anymore to defend them. And the offensive line, it's going to be a tough road to hoe going forward. I'm just pointing that out. Whether or not they come out and play, that's on them. I'm just looking at it from a state. This is the first time in this season we've been this compromised because of injuries. Yes, we've lost a guy here. We lost a guy here. We've lost a few guys on the offensive line, and we lost the entire secondary. Okay? So it's going to be hard these next few weeks to do that. I hope they play well, and I hope that they can come out, but Wink Martindale may be less aggressive because of that. So maybe that changes the game plan up. Who knows? We'll have to find out.
What is for you guys, like Adam and Mac, and for everybody in the chat? I heard you guys are valid on both your sides of your points. Anything can happen. And Adam, right now, you're right that the Giants right now are facing a very, very steep uphill climb. But what is your guys' game plan, offensively, defensively, and special teams wise, that you would hope the Giants go into this game with the limited amount of players they have to find a way to pull out this victory against the Dallas Cowboys? What would you guys do if you were coaching this team on offense, defense, and special teams to find a way to pull out a victory?
Mac?
Look, man, I've already been saying, man, look, you just got to go out there and you got to give the best effort you got and give everything you got, man, and hope your best is good enough, because right now, like I said, from the talent standpoint, you're outmatched. I mean, you just are. It is what it is. I don't know. A coach ain't going to tell the players that, obviously, but we all know it's the facts. From a talent standpoint, we're outmatched on paper. So the best you can do is go out there and do the best you can. Don't lay down.
I'm also looking at the factors.
Definitely don't lay down. You just go out there and give it your best shot, man, and see what happens, man. You roll them dice and maybe good things will happen.
I mean, the Giants can barely score 28 points in a game. The Cowboys can score 28 points in a blink of an eye. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just stating the obvious that the Giants have to find a way to keep the game close. And if their run game is compromised, it's going to be a tough road for them to hoe because they don't have the weapons on the outside to compete with them. I'm not saying lie down, hell, guys, lie down. But if all of us are picking the team to lose, then we know that the inevitable is a fan. I'm not going to go sit there and be like, well, the Giants are losing. You couldn't see the season. All I'm saying is this could get ugly quickly if things don't look good. And the only reason I say that is because of what is going on right now. The landscape is going to be a tough road for them to hoe because they don't have the weapons on the outside. Man, I sound a lot better on the radio.
You do, Adam.
We know who's that voice coming through the radio box? My God. Miz, you're gonna have to lower volume.
Miz, you gotta turn the Thank you.
What's up, guys? Hello?
Yeah,
you got an echo on, or you got like
an echo, bro.
Wow.
God, I don't know.
Oh, something's.
That was
That was weird. All right. But lost my train of thought. Shit.
Your train of thought is we're going to eat turkey. We're losing this game. Let's move on to the next game.
I'm just saying. I just feel like that the whole.
I'm not conceding the season. I'm just saying it's going to be harder than we think it's going to be than it was. We're not playing powder puffs.
But what I'm saying is it's going to be just as hard as it has been. Because coming into this season, nobody expected us to be sitting here at 7-3 right now. So it's just going to be as hard as it has been. It's no different. The mantra, everything should be the same. We've been, like I said, the underdogs most of the way. Most of this season, we've been the underdogs. So nobody saw us being 7-3 now.
Yeah, but
so
we didn't have the.
It's not that it's going to, because I'm just saying, because where I may be I'm getting lost in a little bit from what you're saying a little bit is because you keep saying it's going to get harder. It's been hard. So it's just going to remain being hard. It's not like it's going to continue to be hard. We just got to figure out a way to just weather the storm once more and keep doing it, man. And,
unpopular opinion. I love your opinion, but you make it sound so easy. Score 24 points and hold them to 21. I mean, come on. We didn't even hold them to 21 when they had Cooper Rush. And we didn't score 21 when they had Cooper Rush.
We need a pass rush. We have to get a pass rush somehow against Dak Prescott, make him uncomfortable.
That's a good play.
We have to, and we have to stop the run. We cannot allow Dallas to go nuts running the football like they did against us the first time. Because if they run the ball well against us, we are in major trouble. We are major trouble. Kayvon Thibodeau, it'd be good to see Kayvon Thibodeau finally have that game on the outside where he goes nuts, like Parsons goes nuts almost every week. We need Thibodeau to be such a disruption on the outside and be able to create such havoc against Dak. And we need Leo and we need Dex to really be able to apply that pressure up the middle. That's one of the biggest ways we have to create turnovers too. We need to have that defense create turnovers, and we need to find a way to get, at least we have the time, get that ball downfield and test that secondary of the Dallas Cowboys, whether it's Slayton, whoever it is. We need to test that secondary and get a pass rush.
Yo, what's up, guys?
What's going on, Miz? Yeah, you good, man. Go ahead, Miz. Let's see. Get it off your chest real quick, bro.
You know what my take is? I already spoke to Adam, and I put my video out last night. It's not changing my mind. I know where you're coming from, Mac, and Unpopular and other guys, but I can't sugarcoat it. I can't put chocolate on it. I'm sorry. The Giants are walking into Dallas tomorrow, a beat up to death team. That's the facts. I look at the facts. The Giants do not have the manpower in my eyes. Maybe they'll shock me, and I'll be the first one to say I was wrong. The Giants do not have manpower to go to Dallas tomorrow, who I look at as one of the better teams in football right now, and be able to compete for 4 quarters. I don't care what kind of game plan Coach Dabble comes up with, because at the end of the day, you got to line up at the line of scrimmage and play football. This is the NFL, not high school. You're not going to be able to trick a team for 4 full quarters. And right now, the Giants don't have the O-line. We have, dude, we're going to war tomorrow with Rodarius Williams and Flock. Are you serious? Come on, who are we kidding right now? Mac, you really think we're going to be able to sustain a 4-quarter defensive game with those 2 corners? And
It's
only
not likely. Like I said, it's not likely. Like I said, it's not likely.
But
But
I don't even have Beltner either.
I'm not even
they get
talking
on-
about not likely. I'm a little
not
worried
likely.
that we're going to
It's
get
not likely,
blown
but
out.
with stranger and crazier things happen. I mean, you've been a football fan for a long time. You've seen crazy shit. It happens. I mean, it just does. Unexplainable. It doesn't make sense. You can't make sense of it. Things happen. I mean, guys have play out of their mind for whatever reason, even if it's only the only game ever in a whole career that they play good. I mean, it just is what it is. Strange things happen. For maybe somehow by some miracle, Cordell Flock can shut down CD Lamb. It's not likely, but it could happen.
Come on, man.
I mean, who knows? I mean, we at this point we gotta hope for a little bit of that mojo, man, because we're gonna need it.
Let's
We're
go
gonna need
nickel
it.
and
Let
pound.
me ask you a question, Mac. Let me ask you a real serious question right here. How much the Giants got to score to win the game tomorrow? Real. Be real now. Don't be a Giant fan. Take your hat off. Be real.
I feel like if they want to win, they got to score at least 27. At least.
27.
At least.
Okay.
This is the NFC East game. I'm not buying all that for just because they score 40 points against the Minnesota Vikings. This is the NFC East game. It's going
How
to still
healthy do you
get
think
down
Barkley
dirty and
is?
grimy. It's going to still get
He's in the
grimy
NFC
and dirty.
game. By the way, how many handoffs you want to give Barkley? The man's already holding his shoulder. You know he's hurt.
Yeah, that is true.
How many handoffs are we giving Barkley? Because people are like, as long as you got Barkley, you can win this game. So what are you going to do? Give Barkley 35 handoffs and 10 throws? How many plays before Barkley doesn't peel himself off the field and we lose him for the season? By the way, we have, a half an offensive line tomorrow?
If that.
I'm gonna give Barkley as many carries as he can handle because he's our best guy, and if he's out there playing, he's gonna want to be a part of it the whole way. So I'm gonna give him as many as he can handle. I'm not gonna sit out there and play him and want him to get hurt from him, get carried off the field or anything. But look, if he's out there suited up, ready to go for his team, then I'm gonna give him as many as he can handle because he's a superstar. That's what he gets paid to do. That's it.
I'm gonna give you
what it comes
my
down
real.
to.
This is how I feel, and I know people don't like it. Yo, and I hate to do this. Believe me, man, I hate to do this. I'm gonna be going in tomorrow's game, and minutes leading into the game, I'm gonna be standing thinking, yo, we can find a way to win this game. You know that. That's the fan in us. Of course, I'm gonna be like that tomorrow. But
That's what I'm
realistic,
talking
reality. I don't bring a lot of these guys back tomorrow. I rest them another week and a half for the Washington game. And I give up a game for the long haul because I still want to make the wild card and we still can. You know, you kind of get what I'm saying? That Washington game in 2 weeks now is looming as the biggest game of the season. It is. And that's just how I'm looking at it.
Yeah.
I do want to win tomorrow. Of course I do. But I don't want to spend the rest of my players and bring back guys that we need badly for December, bring them back early and re-injure them. And then the season's really over. Because at this point, even if we lose tomorrow, we still have a season. Just saying. I'm trying to look at the big window.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at it like this. Every week is basically, to me, a playoff week to hold on to your playoff chances, I feel like. And if you're healthy, ready to play, we need you out there, man. Because right now, we're too undermanned for that to be saying. And I just can't go with that. If you're ready to play and can play honestly, genuinely, are good to go, then you need to be on the field. That's just the way I feel about it. I mean, it might be a little bit extreme to you, but I feel like if you're ready to go, you got to be on that field and ready to give it everything you got. Because like Authentic said up here in the comments earlier, you got to be ready to die for this situation right now, for this moment right now, man. Right now, it's do or die, bro. We don't have much wiggle room. We don't have much, it's Now or
The
never.
margin
Man.
for
We
error
gotta take.
has
We
gone
gotta take.
down.
Yeah, we gotta take control of this. We gotta grab it by the throat, man. And we
Yeah.
gotta take full control of this right now. We can't be. If we got a chance to go out there and put the best guys we got out there to play, we got to do that, man. We can't say rest them up for this week to get them ready for another game for the next game.
That could start a
I just can't.
landslide on the season.
I just can't. You just can't. I just can't go in with a mentality like that as a competitor, man. You got to give it the best you got, no matter whatever the best is, man. You got to go out there with that mentality and make it your best. Give it your best effort to try to get the job done.
Well,
That's
but
just the way I feel
they're going to
about
go
it.
out and fight tomorrow. Obviously, they're going to fight. This team fights, and Dabo's going to fight. But what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, if the Giants lose tomorrow, okay, no, the season is not over. They're still 7-4. They're still holding on to a wild card spot.
Yeah.
When the season's going to get ugly, if we don't come out and win, is the Washington game next week at home. That's going to be the biggest game of the year. Write it down. Because that's what's going to happen.
I disagree with you at all.
That stretches the playoffs right there. That stretch right now from Dallas to the second game is your playoffs. Because if you do not split those games, you're probably sitting at home.
Yeah. I would even try to say knock out Washington both times, because Washington could actually end up being your biggest competition for one of those last playoff spots
Right
now, because Washington's right now there. If they find a way to win their game on Sunday and we lose, Washington has what, 4 or 5 losses on the season?
They have 5 right now. They're 6-5, and they're playing Atlanta. If they win, they'll be 7-5. The Giants will be 7-4. If they beat the Giants, they'll both be tied.
Okay, and they would have the leg up because they would have beaten us once. So
right.
yeah,
then they have 10 days off to correct the mistakes, and then we play them in their building.
Exactly. So I do agree that this next 4-game NFC East stretch is the best. This is what we all wanted, though. This is what we all have been waiting for, is the test against the NFC East. We all have been saying that because everybody's been saying we're playing against cupcake team. These teams are too easy. Yada, 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 yada. Who cares? This is what we've all been waiting for, is playing against our divisional opponents. And if we want to be taken seriously, even as banged up as we are right now, we have to go out there and prove that we can still be a viable team in this playoff hunt. And Washington has got to be that team that we have to try to find a way to either split with or knock them off both times, as tough it's going to be. So I do agree in a way. Washington is going to be the game that we have to go out there and pretty much punch them in the mouth and let them know that they're not going to overtake us in that last wild card spot. And for offensively, I want to see Matt Breida become a bigger factor in this offense with the limited amount of players we have. Get Matt Breida involved more in this offense, in the passing game and the running game. He is a weapon. He is a guy that can be a factor for us in this game. Get Matt Breida involved. He has speed. Yeah. Take advantage of his speed on the outside and take advantage of his speed up the middle. He can bounce off the tackles for first down. I'm telling you guys, Matt Breida could be an X factor for this offense, especially how we're so banged up at wide receiver with only Slayton as our viable true threat right now. And I'm not including Galladay. I know, Miz, you think that I know I heard your videos earlier. You think Galladay could still be a potential weapon. Got to see it to really believe it, even though they should target him more. But Breida has got to also be a guy. We need him in this offense. And I would even give Brightwell a shot because Barkley is worn down. How healthy is Barkley going into this game right now? We don't even know how healthy Barkley is.
Real quick, Jeff, because you keep talking, bringing up Breida. I wouldn't mind trying to keep this Cowboys defense on their heels, bringing in some of them packages where you got Breida and Barkley both on the field at the same time. Had their defense guessing a little bit. You got to get back to something. You're going to need stuff like that. We got to pull all the tricks out tomorrow to beat the Cowboys. Any chance of beating the Cowboys, we're going to pull all the tricks out. Can't hold nothing back. You got to leave it all on the field. Point blank and period. That's what it's going to take. It's going to take absolute maximum effort. So,
man, you gotta do some things that we haven't shown the league this year. Which put Peter in the backfield. Let Barkley line up in the slot. Maybe move him around as a receiver on a bunch of plays. You know what I'm saying? So it makes the secondary have to back up and defend him. It may open up the running game with Breida a little bit. It's like a tricky way of doing it. You got to start I don't care if he hasn't helped us for 2 years. You have to now throw the football to Galladay beyond 10, 15 yards. You cannot throw him a 3-yard slant in the first quarter to make him smile and then not look at him again till the fourth quarter. You have to make Galladay a factor, and he can still be a factor. It's time to throw him the ball often because we don't have many people to throw to anymore.
They have the Thanksgiving ones. I think I'll just watch.
I'm not counting on Richie James is banged up too. How healthy is Richie James right now in this game? And I understand you don't trust Breida authentic, but Breida is a factor in this offense because of his speed. And out of all those guys, Breida's probably the healthiest because he hasn't been used a lot. Why not try him out there on this offense? What is there to lose? He's a guy that can get the job done in the slot. Why not try Breida a little bit? Give him something different. How about, remember a couple of times, fellas, where we tried a 3 running back system in the plays where we had Breida, Brightwell, and Barkley all out there at the same time, and we gave the defense a different look? Why not try that a couple of times too? Throw all 3 of your running backs out there where they had, I believe, Barkley and Brightwell in the backfield, and they also had Breida in the slot. And then you can hand the ball to a guy like Brightwell as well. Try something different, like you guys said, and throw this defense off and give them looks they have not seen. I think Breida can be a complementary weapon, just like James and just like Galladay. Give them some things that they would not expect going into this game tomorrow, and that's how you could maybe generate some more plays on this offense.
But you guys gonna get your final thoughts in on this game before we move on. Me and Adam gotta move on to the next couple games before we wrap the show.
No problem. And thank you for having me on the stream, guys. I appreciate it.
If y'all have any final thoughts y'all want to say, anything else?
I just want to say happy Thanksgiving to Miz, Adam, Mac, everybody in the chat. Just enjoy the football game, and sincerely, everybody have a great time with your family, your friends. Enjoy your turkey day. That's most important when it comes to anything. And let's just hope that the Giants can go out there and maybe shock the world. Anything is possible. It is the NFC East. So right now we all might be down and might be a little pessimistic heading to this game, but it is the NFL, and crazier things always happen in the NFL. So you never know. Maybe we can go out there on Thanksgiving and Brian Daboll can do it again. But thank you guys so much for having me on the panel. Love the show always, Mac and Adam. Miz, always love your energy and your takes. Authentic, unpopular opinion. Everybody, have a great rest of your thing, and have a great Thanksgiving, everybody. Take it easy.
Thank you.
I meant Friday. We talk football on Jeff's channel. But before I go, I just want to wish everybody happy Thanksgiving. This is a great show. And, look, man, we'll see what happens tomorrow. I don't want to be too much of a negative. I'm usually not. But I'm just trying to keep it real. And but I do think the Giants will get it back together for the Washington game the following week. And I do think – I actually agree with Authentic. If the Giants – it's not the way we want to go, but if it falls to this, if we can find 2 wins, which I think we will, we're still going to squeeze into the wild card. Be good, Mac, Adam. Have a happy Thanksgiving.
All right, you too, man.
Yes, thanks a lot, man. Oh, well, that was fun.
Yes, sir, always fun.
Went down there for a while. Let's move on. We got a couple more games to talk about here. On Sunday, we got the Atlanta Falcons traveling to the Washington Commanders. And once again, this is a very important game for the Commanders. It's an important game for both of these teams, as a matter of fact. Because Atlanta is still very much in the mix to win that terrible NFC South, you know. So it's a very important game for both of these teams, man. I mean, Washington looking to probably get into the playoffs in different ways. Washington looking to get that wild card slot. Atlanta looking probably more so to try to just win their division and get that automatic playoff spot for being a division winner. So how you see this one playing out, Adam?
There's another game that Washington has to win. They are the better team. They are playing better right now, and they need to beat this team. I know Atlanta is – I mentioned earlier Atlanta's fighting for the playoffs. I don't think they're as good as the Commanders right now. I think they're a developing team. I think Atlanta is almost where we are, right? They got a similar kind of offense. If you see Marcus Mariota, they do the exact same kind of offense. Like if we were to play Atlanta, you'd be like the Giants are playing the Giants in a scrimmage. They look exactly the same. So we'll see what happens. Chase Young comes back. We'll see how he gets to play, right? We'll see how much he plays because to me, that's a big boost to their defense going forward. And if they can pull this win out, Miz is going to be correct. Even if they lose, the December game is going to be circled on their calendar. So I think they're going to win this game. I just think they're red hot right now. I think they're firing on all cylinders. They're healthy at the right time, and they got their bye week coming up in a few weeks. So if they can somehow, maybe get to 7-8 wins by their bye week, they're going to be sitting pretty going down the second half or the last few remaining weeks for them.
Yeah, I think Washington here. I think they find a way to win this one close at home too, as well at home. Atlanta, not quite the same team on the road, but they've been doing some interesting things all season, so they're not going to make it easy for Washington here. Atlanta's one of those teams that always finds a way to get themselves back into the game, even if they get out of it. This
is the first home game in like 2 weeks, right?
Earlier. Who, Washington's?
Yeah. Because they played Philadelphia and then they went down to Houston.
Oh yeah. They was on the road the last 2 weeks. Yeah.
So it's going to be pretty raucous for them.
I mean, it will be, and with them playing pretty good football, Taylor Heineke, like I said, seems to be lighting the fire under this offense.
Do we know if he's starting? Do we know if he's got the nod?
Who, Taylor Heineke?
Yeah. Wasn't Carson Wentz coming back soon?
No, they already announced that Carson Wentz wasn't getting that football back in his.
Okay.
Made an official announcement.
Okay, I didn't hear that. That's why I was asking.
Yeah, they had. I'm pretty sure they had made an official announcement about that already, and so yeah, Heineke is the guy going forward the rest of the way right now, unless barring injury. So,
I see 2 losses for them, but I don't see Atlanta as one of the losses.
Like I was talking about earlier, the Washington Commanders the last couple of weeks have really figured out a way to start running this football, getting downhill, using both of their running backs to their full strength, man. So, I mean, that's going to be key in this game for them again, just to continue that path. As long as they don't try to suddenly switch things up and switch what's not working. And Taylor Heineke also finding his connection with, like I said, with Terry McLaurin. Terry McLaurin's season I felt like it's gotten better.
Their whole offense has gotten better.
Has taken over. It's like all of a sudden now we know that once again he's scary Terry again. It wasn't so scary. I felt like when Carson Wentz was in there, just was a lot of inconsistencies. Just everything was just it was unraveling, man. So Taylor Heineke, he's not coming out there throwing up the gaudy numbers, the Patrick Mahomes like numbers or anything crazy like that. But
he's doing
at the
just
same time, it's effective. He's doing enough to get the job done. The team seems to believe in him. They rally around him, and they won a few big games here the last couple of weeks, man. And this is another big one. Like I said, at this point, every game is pretty much big for these teams, especially in the NFC East, because it's so damn tight. The division is so tight, and at this point, anybody can even still win it. So I mean, yeah, there's authentic right there, backing that point up right there. Six targets a game with Wentz, 9 targets a game with Heineke. There's a difference right there, man. Terry, I mean, you gotta use your best guys. You gotta know how you gotta figure out a way to always get the ball to your best guys, and that's what Heineke's doing, and it's been effective.
It's working. And their defense getting better is also helping them out. So I think we said that again once he went down. I know I mentioned it. You can go back and go to the show that was the next show that he was starting, and I said I think Taylor Heineke will help this team win. And I don't want to be right, but I didn't necessarily think I was going to be right. But it looks like that's what's happening. It sounds like that's what's happening according to people around the league. They are feeling a little bit better, and here we are. He's doing the smart thing. He's going to the best player in his receiving corps. Why wouldn't you do that, right? So. Let's see if we can get 9 targets to Galladay and pull something out that way.
And the only thing I can say, unfortunate in this whole situation with the Washington Commanders is they got that young quarterback Sam Howell back on the roster, and it's like now because Heineke's come in giving his team a spark and they're very much in the mix for a postseason spot. It's like now we probably don't have no chance in the world of seeing Sam Howell, because even in the event that Taylor Heineke went down. They're not going to go to Sam Howell if they're still
No.
very much have an opportunity. They'll go back to Carson Wentz for obvious reasons. And so it's unfortunate in a sense for that young man. It's like it's probably not likely to work out here because at this point, you don't get a look at him this year. Not so sure if they're going to go forward with him. They'll just look to get somebody better in there and keep improving going forward in the offseason. But that's kind of unfortunate for him. But maybe he'll still get a chance somewhere else, or maybe in Washington still. You never know.
He's going to be working at Walmart. He's going to be in the customer service department.
But it just seemed like it's just kind of where you thought where he's one of those rookie quarterbacks we thought would definitely probably got an opportunity on the field this year.
Well,
Washington wasn't going to be so great. It doesn't seem like it's going to work out that way for him.
Well, that's good for him, right? Winning team, he can sit back and learn. But if they let's say they tank the next 4 games, not tank, but somehow lose 4 in a row, it's not out of the realm of possibilities there as well. I mean, they're in the same boat. Washington. This will be my last point. They need to win 3 games. Well, they need to probably win. They need to probably win 3 games to get into the playoffs. If they circle the 2 giant games as part of their win total, that's what to me looks like their playoff path. If they beat Atlanta, they can beat the Giants. They do play Cleveland, but if they do beat the Giants twice, they'll have a shot at making it.
Well, hopefully that won't be happening because we'll be hoping for that Daniel Jones magic against the Washington Commanders. That is the one team we can say he owns. If we can say he owns anybody in this league, we can say he owns the Washington Commanders.
The burgundy and gold. That's what we're hoping.
We can hope for that. We can hope for that same energy when we play them as well. But yeah, I like the Commanders in this one and a close one at home, man. I think Atlanta will play them tough, but I think Atlanta will come up short against the Commanders. The Commanders are on the roll right now. And then there's still one. And then there was one more Sunday Night Football. Now, who did the schedule this year, man? Because the Philadelphia Eagles, by my calculations,
have like 10
every prime time game they played has been in Philadelphia. Why are they getting all their prime time games at home?
They love Philadelphia.
Why they don't never got to go on the road to play under somebody else's lights?
They never do, man. They never do.
You got Washington. Philadelphia and Green Bay. Obviously,
good game.
Obviously, I don't know. I'm Sunday Night Football in Philly. Eagles.
I'm going to go on a limb. I'm going to do this. I'm jumping in, and I'm going to eat crow next week. Green Bay's beating Philadelphia. Oh.
I don't know, man. I can't quite see it that way. I just can't.
Tom, you came in the last second.
I just can't quite see it that way because the Eagles, as we talked about, are just a very talented football team, and I don't know if Green Bay is going to be able to hold them off, man. I
really don't think Green Bay's going to win either.
They ran well. I get it. Like we mentioned earlier in the chat, they ran the ball very well against the Dallas Cowboys defense, and we all know the Eagles' weakness on defense is stopping that run. But
I think they'll get improved play from Sue and Linval Joseph to do enough.
Exactly. That may help shore that up a little bit for this Eagle defense. The additions of Linval Joseph and Dominic and Sue. We know they're not the same players they once were, but at the same time, they're still pretty effective. Dominic and Sue was still making plays a year ago.
I want to see their secondary. Because this receiving core is not that great, but Watson has come on strong. So
Watson has 5 touchdowns in the last 2 games, so that's something to look into. But this is an upgrade. He played against the Cowboys secondary too. It's not quite as good as the Eagles, but at the same time, this will be a test for that young man. He's looking like he's trying to turn that corner and become a star. He's been playing very, very well. But I still just think. Well,
it always happens with Rodgers. This always happens with Rodgers. He finds somebody and makes somebody start. Happened with Brett Favre, happened with Rodgers. And watch, next year, Watson's going to be an absolute stud. Green Bay's going to be back on top, and we're going to be like, what the hell happened?
That could very well be the case. But right now, this year, they are not on top. And they've just been playing pretty bad football overall as of late, other than that Cowboy game. They went right back to their losing ways a week ago. So I don't know. I don't see them. I just don't see them going into Philly on Sunday Night Football. I see Jalen Hurts just gashing them any which way he wants to, and I see it's going to be a long day for their secondary with A.J.
Man,
Brown and Devontae Smith and
if they get 10 weeks, 10
even
wins.
throw Quez Watkins in the mix, man. I think it's going to be a long day. I think the Eagles. I can see the Eagles actually not only winning this game, but winning it in impressive fashion and blowing the Green Bay Packers out on Sunday Night
Well,
Football.
there's got to have they have to have a couple more losses on the docket at some point. I don't know where they're going to come from.
They play us twice, brother. They still got to play us twice.
I hope you're right, my friend. I hope you're right.
I hope I'm right too. That's where them couple extra losses is coming from. They got two coming from New York, brother. No matter what, because it's always personal when we play the Eagles. That's just how I take it. Can't stand the damn Eagles.
I can't stand them either. Shoot, but
well, we will.
They can't stand us.
We got a couple weeks before we get there, and but yeah, I just don't see Green. I don't know. I don't see Green Bay having much of it. I think they keep coming back down to earth, and this season is just kind of just one of those seasons Aaron Rodgers is going to always want to forget, never even remember the 2022 season. Maybe one of the worst seasons of his career, not statistically necessarily, but just things going bad, going horrible for this team. They can't seem to get it together. They can't seem to get on track, and I don't see them having another big emotional boost like they did against the Cowboys a couple weeks ago. I just see them being, once again, a team that's just not better than the Eagles, and the Eagles are going to prove that and get the job done, like I said, in impressive fashion. What's going on, H-Town Cowboy? Happy Thanksgiving to you too, bro. We'll see. We talked about that extensively before you came in here, man. You can go back and check it out, man. But we'll see what happens tomorrow, brother. Good luck to you. but Adam, man, I don't know how much more you want to talk about this one, man. If you got anything else on this one?
I don't really have too much more outside of the fact that Philadelphia's got to handle their business. If they come down and win 10 games, it's going to be hard to see them, dropping too many more. They're a talented team, probably the best. Right now, they're the best team in football. So I hate to say that. Gives me a headache to say that, but they're the best team in football.
It's terrible. It's terrible. We did a Secret Santa at my job and shit, at my one job in the morning. And the dude whose name I picked is a huge Eagles fan, bro.
And you refuse to buy any Eagles stuff, huh? You should buy him a Giants stuff just to be fun.
I already bought him some Eagles stuff.
Oh, my God.
Spending my money on
wow. You let green dollars out of your wallet burn?
Look, bro, last year the dude I picked was a Cowboys fan. I spent money on that shit last year, too.
You need to get new friends. Or you just need to call out sick when they do Happy Santa Day.
So yeah, I'm having to spend my money on that, on their products and stuff, man. They good. I'm mad how good they are. Keep winning.
Yeah, I might have just gotten them a gift card just to be like, oh, sorry, bro. Can't do it.
But now, all seriousness, man, Eagles, they're a force to be reckoned with. It looks like the only thing standing in their way is themselves right now at this point. It looks like as long as if they play clean football, they're going to be a very hard team to beat going down the stretch for anybody going into the playoffs. This team is built, like you said, to win any way they need to win. And like I said, we've talked about the key is keeping their offense off the field, but you can only do so much of that. I mean, they're going to get opportunities. You just got to make the most of your opportunities when you play a team like that. So
they do have Hassan Reddick and Javon Hargraves, who both have 7 sacks apiece. So, they're getting to the quarterback a little bit, and that tends to make turnovers. And they have decent corners. So I shouldn't say decent, probably arguably the best duo in the NFL.
So we make, we'll see what happens going down the stretch. But that's all I got, man. Just want to wish everybody happy Thanksgiving. Thanks for everybody coming through in the chat, man.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving.
Really do appreciate it, man. Y'all make the show so much better when y'all come in and engage in the chat.
We even got 10 strong at some point at a new hour and a new time. Well, we will be back at 5:30 next week, but just for this week, wow, it was good to see you guys still come out.
Like my guy just said, we'll be back at our regular scheduled time next Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank y'all all, man. And tomorrow, immediately following the game. I know it's Thanksgiving, but Mac the Giants fan works hard, baby. So even immediately following the game, tune in to your boy, Mac the Giants fan, for another edition of the True Blue Aftermath, baby. And that will
He'll have
be
a turkey
live
leg in his mouth.
right here on Mac the Giants fans channel, man. I won't have a turkey leg in my mouth, but I'll probably still be digesting one. But and also don't forget, tune in next week to the show, to next week's edition, week 13 edition of the Real Deal NFC East Round-Up. And make sure y'all show us a little bit of love. You like the stream, hit that thumbs up button on all platforms. Mine, Adam's, the Hardcore Sports Networks. Sub up to myself, Adam Costas, the Hardcore Sports Network. Really appreciate it. Don't cost you a dime to do it. It just helps out and supports the channel, man. We really appreciate the love we've been getting. And I'm about to enjoy a Mad Elf right quick as I pregame for what I hope is going to be a good evening. So
you enjoy that.
I'm Mac the Giants fan. This is my guy Adam Costas, man.
Have a good night.
Peace. I'd like to thank you all for listening. If you was feeling this, please take time to subscribe and smack them likes. Feel free to drop a comment. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to ring that bell so you know when I'm dropping new content. It's your boy, Mac the Giants fan. You can find me on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook at Mac the Giants fan. That's MacDa Giants fan.